Welcome to Sew Anastasia, and today we are going to hem this super long sweater. It could practically be a dress on me. It is incredibly long, but I'm also incredibly short because I'm only 5'2". So I'm gonna make it into a crop sweater because I'm wearing high-waisted skinny jeans, and well, crop sweaters are in, and well, I want to be in. So let's cut it up and hem it. Supply list time. So we are going to need a rotary cutter, a pair of fantastic scissors. We're also going to need a stick of pins and 4 spools of thread because we will be serging this. Or if you don't have a serger, you can also use your straight stitch machine. So you will need 1 spool, and I would suggest a big quilting ruler or just any sort of ruler that you can guide your rotary cutter along. But the most important thing you're going to need on your supply list is a really awesome sweater that you can shorten and make into a crop. So I thrifted this one. There are so many amazing sweaters out there that are ginormous in the men's department, and you know what? We're gonna make it cute. The first thing you're gonna wanna do is grab your sweater, put it on, because we're gonna need to figure out how short you want it. So I'm gonna put on my green sweater. Voila! Now grab your stick of pins because we are going to fold up our sweatshirt where we want it and pin it. So you can use a mirror, use a friend. I'm gonna use you. What do you think it looks like? How short should we go? So I have my high-waisted jeans on. I think right here is good because I have a binding on it. I'm also gonna cut the binding off and put it back on the bottom. So somewhere here, yeah? What do you think? So go ahead, grab a couple pins and hold your sweater in place and pin it. So I've got my 2 pins in there, and that's all I need right now. So now we can go ahead and take off your sweater, and we're gonna go over to the cutting table. Next, grab your ruler. I'm using my quilting ruler, and we are going to figure out how much extra fabric we need to cut off the sweater to crop it. So go ahead and you can lay it across. You can just go up and down, and let's see. So from the bottom all the way to where my rib knit starts is about 7 inches. So if I'm gonna leave a little seam allowance in there, I'm gonna take off 6.5 inches of this sweater. So now that we've measured it, you can go ahead, unpin your sweater, lay it out nice and flat, and we're gonna first cut off the binding, and then we're gonna cut off the 6.5 inches. Okay, make sure your sweater is nice and flat on the table. And go ahead and grab your scissors. So first you want to grab your scissors, and we're going to cut off the binding on the bottom of the sweater because we are going to reuse it. Now when we go ahead and cut the binding, we're going to make sure we cut 1 layer at a time, and we're also going to leave a 1/2 inch for seam allowance. So go ahead and let's cut this. Okay, just keep turning it. Give a little chunk left. There we go. Now our binding is off of our sweater. And we've got this totally funky area, and we're gonna deal with that when we're at the serger. It also makes a really great headband. Okay, so let's go ahead and lay our sweater nice and flat on the table, and we want to measure up that 6.5 inches and cut. So this ruler is 6 inches wide, and so I'm gonna eyeball up another 1/2 inch, which looks like it's right here in between this knit groove. So I'm gonna follow that so my shirt ends up hopefully straight. Looks like maybe the sweater had stretched out because it was old. So I'm gonna leave this a little funky at the bottom and go ahead and follow it up here at 6.5. So let's get in this knit weave and cut. I think I'm gonna grab another pair of scissors. These scissors were so dull. I had to get another pair of scissors. Loving these scissors, by the way. I just got them. Totally suggest a pair. And they've got rainbows. Cool. Okay, let's cut. So let's get back in here. Oh yeah, butter. And we're going to follow that row of knit stitches. Perfect, and we end right back up where we left off. And now we have a giant piece. I think I'm gonna make it into a scarf actually. We just gotta finish the edges, right? Cool. Okay, but more importantly, we have a really short cropped sweater. But we can't just leave it like this because it'll totally come unfrayed. And we don't want that. We're not a hobo. So, we are going to go over to the serger with our binding and sew the binding back on, and then we're gonna have a super hot sweater. Are you ready to serge? I am. So let's grab the band for the bottom of the sweater, and we're gonna put it right sides together on the bottom of the sweater. So go ahead and you wanna line up both raw edges. Now the band might be smaller, the rib knit band, which is totally fine. And what you want to do is line up, so you should have a seam somewhere. Make sure this seam is going to end up on the side of your sweater because it's pretty ugly. And, well, we don't want to see it on the front of our sweater. So remember, you cannot use pins in your serger. You don't have the serger, remember you could always do the overcast stitch on your straight stitch machine. So let's go over to the serger and buzz it up. Now we're sitting at our serger. We are ready to serge. So make sure your binding is lined up with the side seam of your sweater. So you want the binding seam and the sweater seam to match up. Now notice that I have a really large woven sweater starting to come undone, so you want to take notice of that and be careful. So I'm going to make sure that I serge over. I'm actually going to serge off maybe 1/4 of an inch because I really want to make sure that I'm catching that weave together. So it's really important so that it doesn't fall apart. Okay, so I've got my fabric under the foot. Now notice I have quite a bit of it here, about 1/4 of an inch hanging off the edge. I'm gonna go ahead and cut off 1/4 of an inch because I really wanna make sure I'm binding together this really large open sweater knit. So let's do it, let's serge. Cool, so we are all serged up here, and you know what, I'm gonna go around it a second time because I really wanna make sure it's secure and I wanna make sure that really big open knit is bound. So go ahead, put it under your serger one more time, and let's go around it a second time, and then we're done. We are done. What an easy project. I'm gonna go over to the iron out my binding and my sweater, try it on and see how it looks. And crossing my fingers that it all turned out okay. I'm finished. Now I have a cropped sweater. No more really long sweater down at my knees. And I'm loving it. I'm ready for the holidays. And what I did with my extra scrap was I serged the edges and I made it into a scarf. So if you take it and wrap it a few times, it almost just looks like a cowl neck on a sweater, which is kind of cool. So if you're here in Chicago or the Midwest where it's so cold, you can have a little extra. Or, you know what? It's a hot winter day. Take that scarf off. Thanks for watching Sew Anastasia today. I hope you had so much fun cropping the sweater with me. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Make sure you check out Instagram, Sew Anastasia, for all of our sewing projects. And if you want to follow my look of the days and my life at the boutique, make sure you check out Anastasia Chatzka on Instagram. And then don't forget, we also have websites, sewanastasia.com and anastasiachatzka.com. And all the links are below for everything. And Kitten says hello as well. And goodbye. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.